What's up? It's been a little while. Don't worry, I've been lifting. I've just been busy and not filming, even though it's like not a lot of effort to film. Maybe I was partially lazy. I don't know. But today's going to be great. We've got bench pressing, we've got a cancer update, and we've got Psalm 40 to get to. And all three of these things are going to be really good today. So let's just keep. Actually, I need to put more weight on. Duh. So let's do that right quick while I explain to you. The most exciting part for me is the cancer update. So I'm going to get to that first. That way people can get excited with me. So, okay, I didn't make that too loud. Cancer free, baby. That's right. Got to get excited about that. We're having a party. It's going to be awesome. Lots of people coming out to celebrate. So thank you to everybody that has been keeping up with it, has been watching this. And then there's lots of people that don't watch YouTube. Well, they do. They just don't watch my YouTube. Lots of people that, we're going to thank, have thanked, and anybody that's watching, this channel with me a lot. Thank you. It's over in the sense that, no more chemo, no more going there every week kind of stuff. It's just a normal quarterly or so blood work just to make sure it's not trying to come back, and they're confident that it won't. It's sort of a formality to just do it because it's protocol kind of thing. So, but it's like scans show literally nothing there. So that's exciting. That's good stuff. So that's also partly why I didn't film a lot. Definitely had to be down there and not here so much. So, but we're back to normal, back in time for real life to keep going. Mission trip coming up. Everything is looking amazing. So we're praising God, and we're going to celebrate with a party to just acknowledge what He's done and thank everybody that's been a part of the process and helped us in all kind of ways. So yeah, let's bench a little bit. So I got an idea if you're still watching, because I see the YouTube has this, I don't know what, forget what they call it, but anyway, it's a way you can track things. And so sometimes, I don't know how or why, I might get 2 views on a video, I might get 200, who knows? And then it'll tell me how many or what percentage, view this and the average view duration. It's so weird because it doesn't make any sense to me, like how that would work. But hey, you know what? It does. It's what they do. So, and now I got distracted telling you how YouTube works that I forgot to tell you what I was going to tell you. Yeah, that's a bummer. It probably wasn't important anyway. But anyhow, good. We'll forget what I was going to say. It probably didn't matter. Tell you what does matter: God's word. And the reason this psalm lines up so good is, it's talking about waiting patiently for God to answer prayer. And of course, we've had big answers to prayer lately. And there have been little moments where it took patience. Because when she first got sick, it was like What's going on? Couldn't figure out what was causing her to feel sick, and what was causing her to be tired, and what was causing her to throw up, and all these different things. So, it's one thing to say, well, get better, but it's like also, well, what's causing this? It could have been so many things. So Psalm 40, verse 1, I waited patiently for the Lord, and he inclined unto me and heard my cry. He brought me up also out of an horrible pit, out of the miry clay, and set my feet upon a rock, and established my goings. And he has put a new song in my mouth, even praise unto our God. Many shall see it and fear, and shall trust in the Lord. Blessed is that man that makes the Lord his trust, and respecteth not the proud, nor such as turn aside to lies. Now, lies could be a lot of things. It's almost like, look, I'm not going to do this, but you can almost play a game here, and name that denomination, and I'll give you like a little rant about lies, the enemy. You do a little rant about, what Satan's trying to do over here, or what's lies like what this person's saying or that person's saying. It's a whole funny game that you just watch and read and listen to what people post and what's on television these days. It's pretty funny to me. But the point is, turning aside to lies could be any number of these things. And most of the time, people are trying to convince you that what their definition of the lie is the only one. And that's definitely not true. Because there's a lot of lies. You can believe the lies of society. You can believe the lies of the thoughts that creep into your mind. You can believe lies of just well-meaning, well-intentioned, folks in the neighborhood. They tend to sometimes say things that are kind of sideways. Not mine, particularly. But it's just funny, how lies can creep in from anywhere. And maybe that's part of what he's getting at. Here's a lie. Are we going to take a hard left or a hard right and go after that lie? You're driving down the road, right? There's a ditch on each side. You don't want to swerve too far one way or the other, because either way is bad. We're going to stay on the truth of what God's Word says about who He is and what He can do, and we're going to be patient and wait on that, and it worked. It happened. So that's cool, and again, we're so excited that He answered prayers, that He healed my daughter, and we can celebrate that and talk about that and point at how awesome God is because of that. Oh yeah, so I forgot to mention what I'm benching. Because I've had a few times, over the last few weeks where 255 was like struggle, and it was easy, it was a struggle, it was easy. So last good bench session I did 255 for 3 sets of 5. And last week with the traveling and stuff, I did dumbbell benching. I did not here, of course, and kind of rep. I was like, I don't know, 10 reps. Stuff that's cool sometimes, and then other times reps. I mean, they're always good for you. I'm not gonna lie, but different programming, different goals and things. You gotta consider those things. But generally speaking, rep work is good to mix in or be part of the program somewhere. Unless you got some crazy specific something going on that I don't know about. So we're going to go 265 today. And, I don't expect to do 5 reps on any of the sets. So I'm going to pace it at 3 reps. And, I'll be satisfied with that. But then I'll be excited if, you get to that 3rd set and can crank out like 4 or 5. But, hey, it's weights are weird, you just never know. But I feel like I'm pretty well hydrated. I ate pasta last night for people that keep up with that kind of stuff. Carb loading before a big lift. I don't know. So, enough of that. Let's see what else. I mean, that was the meat of the psalm that is just so applicable to, what was going on. It's like, yeah, David, I feel you, buddy. I'm right there with you. I'm in a situation just like that, I guess. I don't know what his situation was, but at least mine had similar feelings involved. Many, O Lord, my God, are thy wonderful works which thou hast done, and thy thoughts, which are to us words. They cannot be reckoned up in order unto thee. If I would declare and speak of them, they are more than can be numbered. Okay, we got to stop there. Okay. I don't know, off and on, throughout history, it's like, different in church history. It's like the church goes through these phases where, and like right now we're in this phase where it's like God just wants you to be happy, do whatever you want. So it's almost like taking this to an extreme. But then you also have phases of church history where it's like the church was in denial almost that God cared about you, and I think that's where deists kind of go off tracks, among other things. It's like God just sort of set things going and just standing back and watching. But, David says, many, O Lord my God, are thy wonderful works which thou hast done. Okay, that's in regards to what? And thy thoughts which are to us word, which is a weird way. Why don't you say us? They cannot be reckoned up in order unto thee. If I would declare and speak of them, they are more than can be numbered. So, we're sitting here saying we can't even count all the things that God has done for us. We can't count his thoughts toward us. He's just so much attention and time he spends on his creation, his people, his world. And, so while we're in a phase where it seems like we're taking that to the extreme of, so God just wants you to be happy and do whatever you want. But let's not let that distract us from the truth that, yeah, God does think a lot about us. He might not think a lot of us, but he thinks a lot about us. And, yeah, that was a joke. You should laugh. Whatever. But he goes on to get to the meat, heart of the real issue here. Because, of course, for David to know this, I'm going to read these next few verses. I don't really have to explain. You can, English, you can understand them. It's crazy to me that David could have known this at this time in the history of the church, if you want to consider this church history. How did he know this? Because he was right in the middle of where this was all that mattered to the Jewish people, to anyone that worshiped God. This is the stuff that mattered, and yet David somehow knew the heart of God behind it all. Sacrifice and offering thou didst not desire. Mine ears hast thou opened. Reminds me of something. Jesus talked about how the Pharisees who were caught up in the sacrifices and offerings, their ears were stopped up. Remember? David says, my ears you've opened. I hear you, God. I understand what you're doing here. Burnt offering and sin offering hast thou not required. Wow. How did David know that what God really wanted was your heart? And so to demonstrate that your heart was devoted to God, then you would do the sacrifices and the offering. See, it's the reverse of every other religion, belief system in the world. Everybody else is do this, do this, do this, do this, and then maybe this God or goddess it'll be good enough, and they'll accept you. And then in God's world, it's I already have your heart. You should prove it, demonstrate it, validate it in your actions. Because it's not about the sacrifice itself. It's about what it's demonstrated. It's your witness. It's your way of proving that you believe what you say you believe. Not because I've already accepted you. And that's a comfortable place to be in. And also, people can take advantage of it. We see that all the time in the church today. But Jesus also warns not everyone that says to me, Lord, Lord, will enter the kingdom of heaven. Because he knows there's going to be fakers out there. So let's try this. Let's try it. See what happens. See, Mom, I did it. Yeah, it wasn't bad. Not going to complain. Pretty comfortable with that. Got to start writing this stuff down so I don't forget when my mind gets all blurry. I've forgotten. Seriously, I've forgotten how many reps I do sometimes mid-set. I forget how many sets I've done sometimes. I think it's because your blood flow is just going crazy. It's hard to think straight. What I'm also trying to really do here is hyper focus on the setup. It's just feet, hips, shoulders, pinch. Get the hands right. Bend the bar in half. There's so many little things that you want to do to get a good lift off. Get a good lift in, I should say. Just don't confuse that with the lift off. There is no lift off. I'm unracking it by myself. No one's giving me a lift off. That's what's cool about going to the meet is, having somebody there to kind of help you do those things, because it just takes so much effort out of the lift for you when you got someone to lift it off. When you got someone to pull the arm on the monolift and the hooks slide out so you can just squat. You don't have to walk it out and do all that stuff. Now, I know some people think that's cheating. Whatever, right? Federations use a monolift, and then, maybe still a couple of them that don't. So I don't really care or get much into those type of things. Monolift, no monolift, whatever. Just, stuff people argue about that don't have a life, I guess. So we got 2 sections of the psalm knocked out already, which is cool. So I think the next part's really short anyway, but he goes, kind of changes gears a little bit. I said, lo, I come in the volume of the book, it is written of me, I delight to do thy will, O my God. Yea, thy law is within my heart. So what he's not doing is trying to tell everybody that the sacrifices and the offerings don't matter, or that being obedient to God's law doesn't matter, because of course that's where we're going into it. I mean, we're not drifting into a ditch on this these days. We have literally taken the wheel of the car, jerked it as hard as we can to one side, and we want to just nosedive this thing. That's what the church is doing. Because they don't want to obey God's law or do anything to validate their testimony. So, yay for those people. It's not going to end well. He says, I delight to do thy will, O my God. Yea, thy law is within my heart. I have preached righteousness in the great congregation. Lo, I have not refrained my lips, O Lord, thou knowest. So, I don't know if he means a little bit like I've not refrained my lips. Like, I haven't held my tongue back at all. Like, I've gotten after it, or gotten after people, or gotten after the word, or, just putting it out there. And I wonder too if he was actually trying to preach what he was just talking about. I mean, that would be a local reference there to the context. Like, guys, it's not about the fact that you line up with your goat and your doves and go through these motions. It's about your heart. If your mindset is, I'm bringing the sacrifice, I hope God is going to like me, versus, I love God so much, I can't wait to give the sacrifice. It's all about your attitude. And so people try to look at all the time, so looking at the outward thing and make their decision based on that. And just say, we don't need to do that because we don't need to. It's like, yeah, your heart's not in the right place if you're saying not to do it. Your heart's not in the right place if you're doing it for the wrong reason. David was really concerned about the state of your heart, which I think is good. So I have not hid thy righteousness within my heart. I have declared thy faithfulness and thy salvation. I have not concealed thy loving kindness and thy truth from the great congregation. I mean, look, this guy's letting it all out. He's not holding back. Withhold not thou thy tender mercies from me, O Lord. Let thy loving kindness and thy truth continually preserve me. For innumerable evils have compassed me about. Mine iniquities have taken hold upon me, so that I'm not able to look up. They are more than the hairs of my head. Therefore my heart faileth me. Be pleased, O Lord, to deliver me. I'm glad he points that out. Because he's saying, look, I'm not perfect. I sin. I have problems. I can't count all of them. They're more than the hair of my head, which, yeah. I guess if you count all the hairs I've shaved off, too, that'd be a lot. I couldn't even count the hairs in my mohawk. I'm not even going to try, but you get it, right? Like, David isn't saying, I got all the answers, my life is awesome, I've got it all figured out. He's saying, I struggle, I got issues, I got things too. But that doesn't stop me from obeying God's word and praising him. Everything we just read in Psalm 40. So we need to try to do this 3 more times. Let's do it. yeah, that felt a little heavier. That's good though. Not going to complain. Like I said before, you work and work and work. You take it up to another level. It's not supposed to be easy. I mean, something's wrong if it's like too easy, too soon. Something ain't right. Because it means like I've either been programming wrong or, something's going on weird with my body that I don't know about. I don't know. Just don't want to deal with that. So, let's see. So, of course, he's, says all that. And he goes, let them be ashamed and confounded together that seek after my soul to destroy it. Let them be driven backward and put to shame that wish me evil. Ooh. Let them be desolate for a reward of their shame, that say unto me, aha, aha. So in other words, he will laugh at you for doing the right thing. I love how David puts these because really it's been a super positive, upbeat psalm, but he will still throw in stuff like that. So that's a good example. Just like Paul, he would name false teachers. He would name people that wandered away from the faith to follow other things. He didn't act like what he himself had said about positive and, gracious talking. He didn't want that to be defined so narrowly as to mean that you can't ever point out something wrong. And that's kind of what David's doing here. He's pointing out some things that are wrong. So we can never get some of those lies we talked about from earlier that people like to try to push into a conversation. It's usually when, you're saying something about their favorite false teacher, or their favorite artist that's not really truly following Jesus based on the words that come out of their own mouths, that kind of stuff. So, yeah, oh well, get over it, It's not like I'm the one that made them go and do the things they did. It's their own choice, and that's what happens. So, let all those that seek thee rejoice and be glad in thee. Let such as love thy salvation say continually, the Lord be magnified. But I am poor and needy, yet the Lord thinketh upon me. The second time he's brought that up about God, us being on his mind. Thou art my help and my deliverer. Make no tarrying, or in other words, delaying, oh my God. So first thing he asked for, how's he worded exactly? I waited patiently for the Lord. Okay. And then he asked God at the end to not delay. So it's nice to see him come full circle in the song of, I'm waiting patiently, God, please don't wait. And everything that went in between that. Pretty exciting. Pretty much a big deal to me to look and listen and learn how even someone like David would structure a psalm like that. Is almost like a sermon in a way. Even though it's a song, it's got a structure to it that would flow. You want a sermon outline, just use the Bible itself, because a lot of what was written in there is sermons. And, yeah. Anyway. Oh, yeah. I'm almost ready for set number 3. It's going to hit hard, I think. And then I'm going to hit hard. And we're going to see who wins today. At the end of the day, I win, because it just means I'm getting stronger the more weight I can do, right? That gives me an idea. I might have to write this down so I don't forget. So, usually, now that I've done a few of them to see if it wasn't just a fluke, every powerlifting meet, not always to an extreme amount, but you're going to be sore because you're lifting heavier weight than you've lifted yet, hopefully. And because, a squat and a deadlift are different and they're also similar, right? They involve your back, they involve your legs, core, stability, all that good stuff. Benching is just benching, man, So in a lot of ways, when I get back like that next week, it's like, oh my God, I just squatted Saturday. I'm so sore. I don't want to squat on Monday. But I've just done it because that's my routine, right? Monday's leg day. Well, maybe that's dumb and I shouldn't do that. Maybe what I should do is be a gym bro for one day and bench on Monday and then wait till like Wednesday or later to squat and deadlift again. I don't know. It's just a thought that crossed my mind because, you're wanting to make sure you're always getting quality work. And your quality work really ain't going to be there when you're that banged up from a meet. But like I say, benching's benching. So you were going to bench, you do 3 attempts of 1 rep. How sore can you be really? Even if it is more weight than you normally do. And you'll be healed up in 2 or 3 days from that. But it's hitting that lower body that hard, that heavy. You're putting your lower body through 6 heavy grinding out reps. Your back, your legs, the whole thing. So, just a thought. Something to consider. So this is set number 3 of 265. So the goal, what I say, was 3 reps, 3 sets. And I will be very happy. I'll be very happy with that because it was a grind, man. Did it. I even lost grip on my foot, which I thought was weird because I normally don't do that. So again, hyper focus on the setup. Cannot reiterate that enough. But go out and have a good day if you want to.